It's over. Yeah. Huh. Hey Russia, you motherfucker. Did you really think Ukraine would be a sucker? Another bitch you could suck and then chew. I spit it out like every other bitch you used to. But not this time, though, cause this SMO is just another name for failure. What a shit show. The world is wiser. You paper tiger, your federation's breaking up. We will divide ya. Get out! Get out! Get the fuck out of here! Get out! Get out! Cry me a river, not a tear. And you're done, you're looting. You try to take what isn't yours with your 3-day war. Well, how's it working out for you? Is it going to the plan? Did the lifts inside your shoes make you feel a bigger man? And now your fleet sunk, you little street punk. It's at the bottom of the sea, a rusting pile of coral junk, just like your bomber fleet. It's a strategic joke, trapped inside the spider web, slowly going up in smoke. Get out, get out, get the fuck out of here. Get out, get out. Cry me a river, not a tear. And kindergartens, civilians in their homes, churches, shops, and market stalls. Your missiles, bombs, and drones. And pregnant women, you don't care, sleeping children too. You kill for money, nothing else. Your mothers must be so proud of you. So many war crimes for you to do time. The Hague is rolling out the carpet for the red slime. You're such a user, corrupt abuser. Your economy is toast, you fascist loser. You know it won't last, your time is long past. So take your oil and gas and stick it up your ass. And now the end game will bring the real pain. The final word you ever hear, glory to Ukraine. Get out, get the fuck out of here. Get out, get out. Cry me a river, not a tear. Get out, get out. Take your bullets and your fear. Get out, get out. No one wants your rusty. You're just a liar, the world's pariah. Imperial rebuild was your desire, but now it's too late. You didn't calculate that we are so much stronger than your fear and your hate. My damn was just a start that set us all apart. A passion built on freedom, man, it's coming from the heart. So learn your lesson, we'll take it back then. It's 1989 all over again. Get the fuck out of here. Get out, get out. Cry me a river, not a tear. Get out, get out. Take your bullets and your fear. Get out, get out. No one wants your rusty meat. It's over, it's over. Go home before it's too late. Get out, it's over, it's over. There's nothing left to debate. Get out, it's over, it's over. Time to desist and cease. Get out, it's over, it's over. You never wanted peace. It's over, it's over. Can't you get it through your head? It's over, it's over. The Soviet Union is dead. It's over, it's over. The age of empires is long gone. It's over, it's over. Ukraine already won. It's over, it's over. Everybody knows. It's over, it's over. Glory to the heroes. It's over, it's over. So get the fuck out of here.
Guten Morgen, meine lieben Freunde. Operator Starsky joins the chat. Happy coffee, everyone. We have a lot of updates. Actually, these days were absolutely crazy, and they get crazier every single day. So, first of all, it's so good to see you, my friends. Hello, beautiful world. Hello, Japan and United States. And Germany, Canada, Australia, basically the whole world, as always. It's so good to see you. Hello, Martin and Ellie, and my God, Miriam, Matias, James, Russo Jeb, like all the families here, Sim JFD, Dan, Toby. Jesus Christ, so good to see you. Carlito, of course, Dump Trump, hello. So we have several very important updates. Let me relocate just a bit. First of all, as you probably know already, Ukraine has been asked to provide its interceptors, the drones that are known as Sting, I think, because they were showcased in the Fox News. We'll talk about that in just a second. South Africa, hello. Germany, hello. So United States and at least one Arabic countries asked Ukraine to share its experience and its drones, its technologies to fight against the Iranian Shahids that are currently striking everywhere, all around the Gulf countries. And the reason they asked Ukraine specifically is literally because Ukraine currently has very, very deep expertise. Ukraine was among the first countries that were hit by Iranian-produced Shahids back in 2022, I believe. And Ukraine, since that time, created a lot of different solutions to actually counter those drones. And at this point, we can see that the air defenses that are utilized by the United States and by the Arabic countries in the Gulf, they're not really accurate, and they're not really effective against those drones for several reasons. First of all, the very concept of using cheap Shahed drones massively against those targets is to overwhelm the air defenses, and basically they launch much more Shaheds than the air defenses are able to intercept. And of course, that is something that neither United States nor the Gulf countries were prepared for. They don't have mobile groups to intercept those drones. They don't have enough missiles and enough different other anti-air measures to be able to protect their strategic objects, because the number of those drones is just so overwhelming. And besides that, they don't have anti-air drones. They don't have the interceptor drones like in Ukraine. In Ukraine, we have massive number of those, and we utilize them massively against Shahids, and basically that's very, very effective. So we already have confirmation coming from Ukraine's President Zelensky that this problem will be addressed. He said that he will send a delegation to Doha, all right, to talk about Ukrainian drones, Ukrainian interceptor drones, and Ukrainian technologies, and also they will most probably send some specialists, because of course using those drones requires training, requires a lot of things that currently United States Army doesn't have, all right. And therefore they should be either trained, or there must be a separate unit of Ukrainian, probably drone operators, that will be sent there, and they will operate those drones to intercept the Iranian Shahids. I don't have a clue how much time will this operation take, because again, you know my opinion. I think that Trump started something that he can't really finish, and yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we will talk about the cards. We will talk about those in just a while, my friend, because that's kind of cringe, and it's also in our updates. So one thing that actually tells me, that hints that this operation wasn't planned as thoroughly as we expected was that several days, basically a week after the beginning of this attack on regime of Khamenei, they are now asking Ukraine to provide them with interceptor drones, and we understand that besides the fact that their air defense is not really capable of intercepting all those threats. Another thing is that most probably they're also running out of ammunition, all right? They're running out of missiles for their air defenses, which is absolutely obvious at this point. Most probably they just didn't expect that the response from the current regime in Iran will be so big, right? So they didn't expect such a scale of this response, and that is why they are now trying to find solution. They're trying to find a way how to continue this operation and how to avoid casualties, because all the countries, all the Gulf countries are now asking the same question: what the actual fuck is going on? Why are we being hit? All right, yes, there was a regime and everything else, but what's the point of striking us now? Like, why is this happening? And another question is, of course, who will be responsible for that? All right, for example, there are several brave American servicemen who lost their lives during those attacks, and the question is who will be responsible for those deaths and the deaths of the civilian population over the Gulf countries. All right. That is another thing. So Simon says they keep firing 5 missiles for each missile or drone. Yes, that is absolutely absurd. I don't know. They have absolutely no experience in actually intercepting those missiles like Ukrainians do. Thoughts on Orban's new criminal methods? We will talk about this as well, right? Because it's also in my tiny plan. So besides that, we know exactly that Qatar and the United States were interested in obtaining Ukraine's technologies. As I already mentioned, they will talk in Doha, most probably either today or tomorrow, and they will they will introduce some kind of roadmap how Ukrainian experience and Ukrainian technologies will be implemented into this into the air defense over the Arabic countries, because like the Gulf territory is kind of huge, and literally it will take some effort to provide security for all the important objects in that area. I don't know. What does your lady think about everything that happened so far? She thinks that, first of all, of course, it's very good that Khamenei is dead. It's really good that the regime is being hit, but on the other hand, and of course, the fact that the Gulf countries are being hit is absolutely terrifying. Babe! Anyways, so besides that, she of course hopes that the regime will change, that people will be able to actually take power. But realistically speaking, from my standpoint, I really don't want to disappoint her, but from my standpoint, it will be very hard to obtain without the land operation in Iran, which will not take place. Rather, it will take place, but very locally and in one specific spot. We will talk about this as well. So, speaking of air defenses, of course, the United States were very rich in bravado. I'm talking specifically about one very, very big news agency there. All right, and they tried to show that United States are very effective at intercepting those drones. I wish, of course, it was like that. And what they did, they actually showcased Ukrainian drones, portraying it as if it's American technology. They basically said that United States deployed high-tech arsenal to intercept Iranian drones. And on this footage, you can actually see footage from Ukrainian drones. That's Wild Hornets, Ukrainian producer of Ukrainian interceptor drones, and you can see all those Russian Shaheds that are being actually intercepted over Ukraine. So it was portrayed as if it's US forces using the interceptor drones that they don't have over the Gulf countries. And besides that, you can see that they didn't even change the logos. Wild Hornets, Diki Shershny, that's Ukrainian engineers and Ukrainian units that actually designed the drone to intercept those Shaheds. The drone is called Sting, and it's so popular and so widely known in Ukraine. So basically, I understand why Fox News did that, right? They did that because most probably they don't know much about Ukraine, where Ukraine is located, and they think that it's so far away, so it doesn't even matter. And Ukrainian developers from the Hornet, the Wild Hornets, already addressed this on Twitter. On their official account, they said that we appreciate that international media such as Fox News highlight the effective work of interceptor drones. The footage shown in this segment features Sting, a Ukrainian interceptor drone developed by engineers and Wild Hornets. And of course, it's used by Ukrainian air defense units to destroy Shahed-type drones. Yeah, kind of cringy, and that is why you should always study your topic thoroughly, right? Because such fuck-ups are actually not very professional, right? Besides that, another interesting fact, during the previous stream, we talked about the... I almost crashed my camera here. During the previous stream, we talked about the Russian tech that is used widely in the Iranian Shahed drones. But another interesting and absolutely crazy found was discovered recently during one of the strikes, specifically in Dubai. And this time, the whole Russian drone was actually found. Here on this footage, you can actually see the remains of the Russian drone Geraň-2. That is the way they call their version of Shahed. That is a Russian name for it. Basically, the same Shahed designed in Iran, bought from Iran, but it's called Geraň-2. There it is, and this one again, it was found in Dubai. Currently there's quite a few Russian tourists there in Dubai being hit by Iranians, and Russia doesn't give a slightest fuck about that, as always. All right, that one is interesting. How come Iranians actually use Russian produced drones? Because this one looks like it was actually produced in the Russian factory in Alabuga. That's another great question. Most probably there was an agreement in which Russia actually delivered a bunch of Russian drones, a bunch of Russian model drones to Iran to help the Iranian regime strike all those Gulf countries. But that's actually a very, very interesting find. And Russian tourists in the chat, they're actually asking, like, so there was a chance that we could be actually hit by our own Russian drones. Yes, Russians, you actually could, and then you would probably realize a lot in this life if it happened. All right. So while those talks are taking place in Doha, between Ukraine, between United States, again, United States want to receive Ukrainian drones very, very much. All right. While those talks are taking place, the spokesperson for the White House, Carol Lewitt, she's widely known for making like extremely original "your mama" jokes. All right, so she also made a tiny statement where she expressed like this tremendous respect to Ukraine, the country that will be delivering drones to actually protect her serviceman. Let's hear this lady, all right?
However, the president in that post was pointing out that unfortunately, we had a very stupid and incompetent leader in this White House for 4 years who gave away many of our best weapons for nothing, for free, to another country very far away by the name of Ukraine. So
by another country very far away by the name of Ukraine. I am surprised that she didn't turn into a pumpkin when she actually pronounced the name of Ukraine. But, you know, it's so interesting to observe that every single time the scandal around Epstein goes bigger and bigger, they start talking about Ukraine more and more, specifically negatively, all right? Very interesting. And of course, provided the best weapon we had for free. I am not very sure if she's talking about like 200 javelins and 37 launchers for them. That's when Ukraine was facing more than 6,000 tanks and armored vehicles combined coming from Russia during the first year. Or she's talking about something else, but like, you know what I say, don't tell me about the insane American help that America provided to Ukraine, and I won't talk about the Budapest Memorandum, all right? Security guarantees and all that stuff. So without trashing people who actually helped, because of course the help to Ukrainian civilians and Ukrainian military was enormous, but coming from the especially current White House, I don't really see anything to be proud about. So that is Carol Lewitt, and frankly speaking, you know, Trump actually joined her. He said that Zelensky has to get on the ball and he has to get a deal done and yada yada. I think Putin is ready to make a deal, he says. Like, Putin is of course ready to make a deal because Putin wants Ukraine to capitulate and he's ready to accept Ukraine's capitulation any day. We all understand that, but that's not something that Ukrainians wish to accept. And he also said that it's unthinkable that he's the obstacle, you don't have the cards, and now he's got even less cards, says Trump, whose country is going to actually buy Ukrainian interceptor drones to protect American servicemen. That's very, very interesting to hear, again, coming from Trump. But again, as soon as people start talking more about Epstein, because recently there were some more files from the FBI that revealed some allegations against President Trump and his alleged involvement in some absolutely horrific crimes against minors. I believe that he uses these things, you know, to shift intention one more time. Speaking of current situation, because again, one of the previous streams we talked about the possible agreement between Trump and Putin. which is not proved, which is rather a conspiracy at this point. But one thing I pointed back during the previous stream was that during the first 72 hours, we gotta listen to statements like that. All right, because that would be a very, very good indication that actually at this point, President Trump is pushing President Zelensky, calling him an obstacle. Of course, he's an obstacle that Ukraine is not surrendering. Yeah, I agree on that, and that's the way it should be and will be, right? Ukraine is not going to give up, and Zelensky also doesn't want to surrender to ridiculous Russian demands. But I said specifically that within the first 72 hours, we gotta listen to statements like that, very, very harsh rhetorics coming from Trump and his administration towards President Zelensky. Besides, give me some drones, please. I cannot deal with Iranian drones. You know, besides all that, he will be actually forcing and pressuring Ukraine to comply with Russian demands. All right. So that is exactly what we see. Again, I don't want to be a bad prophet, but that's what it looks like to me right now. That they actually had some kind of agreement, maybe in Anchorage, maybe somewhere else. That's currently just my speculation. That's basically a conspiracy, but to me, it looks like that, all right, that they decided to split the world just like Stalin and H-Man back in the days. And currently, the defenders of Trump will be saying that Trump removed all sorts of Russia's allies and stuff like that, which he actually didn't, because to Putin, Trump is much more important than Maduro or Khamenei. All right, maybe as important as Kim in the DPRK, which Trump will not do anything against. And at this point, we can see that Trump is extremely passionate about forcing Ukraine to sign the peace deal with Russia as soon as possible. And of course, this peace deal is just another name for Ukraine's capitulation. He doesn't want anything else. And Putin, again, also, he made several, like, very, very weak statements, not Putin himself, but his spokespeople, like Peskov, like Nebenzia. They made several very, very weak statements, like, don't attack Iran, West bad people, what are you doing? That is absolutely not the way you protect your allies. If you want to see the proper way of actually standing for your allies, listen to what Giorgia Meloni says, listen to what Starmer says about Ukraine, what Chancellor Merz says about Ukraine. That's the proper way you talk about your allies, all right, so that is being attacked. So Trump probably idolizes Putin without probably, my friend. That's like 100% accurate information. Why is another question, but like we can find a million reasons for why, all right? What's next? I know what's next. So Keith Kellogg talked about the situation in Iran at this point, how this operation is going at this moment, right? And he actually explained one of the probable reasons why they even started the whole attack. Let's check this out.
What I would hope they would do would really go take Karg Island. Karg Island is in the northern Persian Gulf. It is an island. It's offshore about 18 miles. And if you take that island, That's 80 to 90% of the petroleum usage that the Iranians have. You basically shut them off economically. They cannot support China. They cannot support Russia as well. And sooner or later, the other side's going to realize this is just a bad news thing.
So again, just to remind you, when Trump was addressing Iranian people on the television, saying that, dear Iranian people, the help is coming. The help is coming. We're almost here, and we will help you to remove your regime. And then, of course, you can take power in your very, very own hands. And that all was literally a bullshit, because that wasn't the main intention. All right, so here is Iran on your screens, and that is the Kark Island that Kellogg was talking about. So if we zoom closer to this island, basically we can see that there is nothing more than just a huge oil infrastructure right there. All right. So unfortunately, as much as I would desire Trump to actually have started this war to help Iranian people, but that is literally the answer. All right. And speaking of the land operation, in this area, it can actually be conducted. All right. Of course, they will become a subject to tremendous attacks coming from Iran mainland. That's very, very near. All right. Ballistic missiles. I believe that Iran, like current regime, will absolutely destroy everything, or want to destroy everything on this island, including their very own oil storages and oil refineries. But in this area, I believe that the land operation is actually very, very much possible. Okay, like logically thinking and analyzing what General Kellogg said. So that's again my opinion. Everything, as always, looks to be at least very, very plain and simple, and not even very interesting. Yes, they started this war to take that island. That's basically it. Most probably, even Ukrainian drones will be located somewhere there in order to protect it and stuff. But as much as I wanted somebody to actually start, this victorious war against the bloody regime of Khamenei, but it's not the case. That's, again, my very, very personal opinion. I wish Iranian people to destroy this regime as soon as possible and become free. The problem is, again, weaponry, because is that bigger than Zminy Island? It kind of is. Zminy Island is actually very, very small. That one is actually huge. It contains like this massive oil infrastructure. According to Kellogg, that's again 80 to 90% of Iranian export. So I have another, let's say, conspiracy, maybe. My God, they suck. I know that conspiracies suck, but we all love them, all right? But maybe it's not even a conspiracy, but just like an opinion, an anticipation rather. So currently there's talks between the Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, and United States. We all know that Mark Rutte loves Trump very, very much, and we also know that Trump hates NATO. Trump was calling to deconstruct NATO since, I believe, 2016, and it wasn't because NATO members weren't paying their share, right? That was literally because Trump considered NATO outdated, and currently he understands that NATO is probably the only force that can actually save his operation in Iran. And there are already talks between the NATO allies at this point about participation in this operation. And besides that, also Azerbaijan announced that they can actually join this operation, and several other countries. So there is a tiny chance that maybe not the United States, but maybe their allies will actually think about the land operation in Iran. I really hope so. On the other hand, of course, when it happens, we will see plenty of casualties, again, because Iranian Islamic Guards are very motivated by the fact that they committed plenty of crimes against people, and you need good shaver for your head so you don't end up with them small cuts. My friend, just a small pause here, all right? My friend, I shaved my face with the most dangerous cutthroat razor I have in my bathroom cabinet, all right? And it's perfect. Then I shaved my freaking head with like the most safest razor you can imagine. And I bleed like a pig. How do you call that? I have literally no idea. But returning to our topic. Land operation is highly unlikely at this point. With the help of allies, it might actually happen. We will see much more casualties than from joint operations in Iraq and Syria. I'm talking about the anti-ISIS operation. Who knows? Who knows? Regime must be removed in Iran 100%. There is absolutely no other way to make it possible besides land operation. That's obvious. So if they started this war to actually remove this regime, we will see this land operation conducted there on the ground. Highly unlikely, in my personal opinion, that it's gonna happen. So, what else do we have? We have Hungary detaining Ukrainian bank employees. Yesterday, let me just open real quickly the briefing by the Oshad Bank, because that is absolutely insane. Ukrainian Oshad Bank, that's a state bank, reported about kidnapping of its employees and their vehicles carrying values and gold in Hungary. So on 5th of March 2026, 2 cars that belonged to Oshad Bank and that were escorted by 7 employees were detained in Hungary, and they were brought to the Budapest downtown, one of the law enforcement buildings that is located there. So also the location of those vehicles was confirmed by representatives of Ukrainian embassy in Hungary and Ukrainian Ministry of External Affairs. Ukrainian Oshad Bank requires and demands release of its employees by the Hungarian law enforcement, and also return of all the values and all the property back to Ukraine. So they had very typical and very routine transportation of different golden values that they do all the time. And this time Hungary decided to detain them because we know that Orban is very close Putin's friend. Orban loves to speculate on Ukraine repressing Hungarian people in Ukraine and stuff like that. Hello, Miroslav. Hello, my friend. So that's probably a huge international scandal we're looking at this point. But there's another one, a bit smaller, a bit less visible, but still very, very important. All right. So United States, according to Scott Bessent, the Minister of Finances in United States, he said that United States allowed India to buy Russian oil that got stuck in the sea. United States gave 30-day permission to India, so Indian refineries can buy all that Russian oil that is currently either blocked in the ports or stuck in the sea, in the strait. According to Bessent, why they did it, all right? According to Bessent, they did it because they wanted to deal with the deficit of oil. Currently, we know that because of this amazing Trump's operation, the prices for oil are growing around the world, not only in the Europe, but also in other countries. And also, again, as I said in one of the previous streams, Russia will benefit from that big time because the oil prices will grow. We already see this dynamic, and Russia is benefiting because Brent prices raised from 60 to 80, and in some cases more than 80 dollars per barrel, which means that Bessent actually authorized Russia to earn money to kill more Ukrainians. Thank you very much, Mr. Bessent. Ukrainians will remember this. All right. We are not evil. We only have like very, very good memory. We remember things like that. Of course, they could have predicted that the prices would grow because of this operation, and they should have thought how to deal with that. Of course, they don't really care about Ukraine. They don't really care that currently Russia, that has the only power, all right, that Russia currently has, is to transform its oil money into shaheds, missiles, and stuff. And most probably, by the way, Russia will use the money, due to Scott Bessent, to send even more shaheds to Iran, so Iran would strike even more American personnel. I don't know how to comment on this. Please let me know what you think there in the chat, all right? LNG is going to get much worse. Yes, that one too. Currently, I can already tell that in Germany, for example, the fuel is, yes, it's already like €2 more expensive, something like that. The prices here are very, very different due to the time of the day or stuff, but I can tell that they already raised, and quite a few queues can be observed at the gas stations. So, not really encouraging, I tell you that. What may actually encourage you, my friends, is this. This is a footage of Russian, and this amazing music. So this is a footage of Russian Ka-27 helicopter conducting a landing at Sivash oil rig in Black Sea. So this oil rig is used by Russians for their radio electronic warfare, radio electronic reconnaissance. And while that asshole was landing, here you can see the point of view from a Ukrainian drone that is slowly approaching the Russian helicopter, and in the end this helicopter becomes improved right there at the oil rig. It was nice, it was sneaky, and of course this stuff is encouraging like hell. Have you updated the Black Sea Fleet bingo card yet? No, not yet. Not yet. But I think it's time. Save gas. Fart in a jar. Yeah. Yeah, especially after that sauerkraut, you can actually do that a lot. I think you can convert 10 kilograms of sauerkraut into like a whole zeppelin full of methane, but I'm not really sure if it's really good to fly. We can deal with that. Gasoline prices, we don't like it, but we look at Ukraine to win this summer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my dear German family. Special landing operation. Yeah. So, my friends, I think that we are slowly approaching the segment of Russian cringe. And this one is actually so cringy. So, I am not even sure if I should laugh or cry at it because my cringe meter broke. All right, let me take a sip. Actually, I expected a lot from the Russian terrorists. This one is just so amazing. All right. So Russians have kindergartens. You're probably aware of that. In those kindergartens, sometimes they do all sorts of crazy shit. For example, like inviting Russian war criminals to show those Russian kids weapons, to talk about their war in Ukraine. Basically, the Russian war criminals come to the Russian kindergartens and explain to the kids how exactly they invade Ukraine, how they kill Ukrainian civilians and stuff like that. Basically raising new generations of Russian invaders right there in the kindergarten. Sometimes they bring weapons. I already showed you a bunch of photos of that, and Russians consider that it's like a proper thing. Of course, they already have the program of like this education of minors in the school, and according to their program, there's this segment of patriotic education. So they often invite like Wagnerites, like those war criminals who cut heads and stuff. And sometimes, by the way, those war criminals, they were actually convicted. They actually come from prisons. They are being recruited in prisons. And why they went to prisons? Because they committed different horrible crimes. Some of those crimes, by the way, involve abuse of minors. So then they go to war, their like accusations are being removed, and then they are invited to those kindergartens and schools. Basically, the child abusers are invited there to talk to kids, but that is beautiful Russia in its essence. But they went even further. So right now in Russia, they force the kids to play marriages, and they kind of reenact marriages in the Russian kindergartens. And why they're doing that is because they want to teach their Russian kids about the conservative values and stuff like that, that they show them how to sign those documents in the Russian ZAGs, in the Russian marriage palaces, or either kind Russian teacher with this like very, very long pointer, all right? It hits very, very painfully. I know myself. And there you can see amazing underage Russian couples that are taught how to marry properly. Again, like I already predict that people wearing red hats looking at that will say nothing bad here, nothing special here, considering the fact that they support the best friend of some of the biggest PDF file and sexual predator in the world. Of course, I understand that they will not even realize what's wrong with this. All right, but this one is actually also very interesting. Here you can see the wedding of kids wearing military uniforms. Those are a bit older. They don't look like kids from kindergarten, but they also reenact wedding in Russia, like military wedding, because that's basically what they are preparing for. They prepare their kids to wear military uniforms and multiply and breed invaders for Putin. How do you like this shit, my friends? Please let me know. The experiment was started in the Saratov wedding palace to teach the Russian kids about the traditional values of Russian terrorists. And actually, it's very dangerous to teach Russian values to the kids, because what sort of Russian values do you, my friends, know about? Like stealing toilets, raping civilians, killing civilians, and things like that. This one was cringy. This one was absolutely insane, in my personal opinion. This one was not surprising, because I know that we will see much more from the Russian terrorists. Could you please also show where to puke? Your lead, like my thoughts only, because I will. I hope Ellie allows this. Like, I showed this to Ellie earlier, and she says, I was just gonna ask who teaches the honeymoon lessons, Trump, and I told her I'll go vomit and return. Seriously, like, this shit is very, very crazy to watch, all right? But there are still Russian supporters, Russia's apologetics, who actually think that Russia is a normal country. Putin is very, very much prepared to sign peace deal with Ukraine, all right, and that you can talk to Russians normally, you can have some kind of like partnership relations with Russians who actually teach their kids how to wear a uniform, how to invade other countries, and how to have wedding. Yay! Oh my god. My friends, I don't want this shit to emerge in the United States. All right. Frankly, I don't want like this stuff, okay, to be imported from the terrorist Russian Federation to civilized countries like United States, Canada, Germany, of course, France, because there are some things that you just don't do, all right? But Russia went over the top with this stuff. Yesterday, there was some pretty impressive strike conducted by good Ukrainian drones. All right, again, they were spotted all over the place in Crimea. They were spotted in Rostov-on-Don, Krasnodar. Again, you can see the scale of the strike. They went all the way to Oryol, Kaluga Oblast, Lipetsk. They evaded Voronezh for some reason and went to Ryazan. Personally, myself, I enjoy seeing good Ukrainian drones visiting Ryazan, because Ryazan and Tambov, they deserve this stuff, all right? I was dreaming to see that for a long time. So, my friends, please share your opinions with me regarding what is the craziest news of today, all right? No marriage allowed for anyone under 18 in Canada unless there's parental permission. Yeah, and that's basically that's the way it's supposed to be, all right? because like there's nothing easier than to just get married. Unfortunately, I know myself, but people should be sober and sane enough to understand responsibility. Unfortunately, I know myself, so I agree. Tell us about your shirt. So this one is Car for Ukraine. It was given to me by Car for Ukraine. And I think that they also give that to all the bloggers who fundraise for those cars. I asked Claire if they have a merch store because, frankly speaking, the t-shirt is fucking awesome and would be really, really cool if you could also have one, especially those who actually helped with the fundraiser and donated and everything. I asked Claire, and she says everyone in Lviv is building drones, making bombs, so no one is running a merch store. But if someone from another country is interested to run an online merch store shop, please let me know. So there is a very big opportunity actually to the people who either have or would like to run this merch store. So if there are such people there in the chat right now, please let me know. Please use my email or whatever and contact me, and let's make it possible. Also, YouTube, it turns out that YouTube recently introduced direct messages. So now you can directly message the channel owners if you have invitation link. I'll make sure to drop this link somewhere in the community posts, because they removed direct messaging in, I believe, like 2019 or something. So that's another cool feature. I hope that they will make it available for everybody. Let's actually test it, all right? Because sometimes it's very, very much necessary, all right, to keep in touch with each other and send quick messages. But it's kind of impossible. You gotta search for all the social media or all the emails, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a thing, then they removed it, and now they decided to reintroduce direct messaging one more time, so you can share messages, share videos, and stuff like that. I hope that they will reintroduce it one more time and make it like a constant feature. All right. Why not partner with Saint Javelin? I will ask. So, guys, today I will talk with Claire specifically about this. All right, specifically about the merch store for Car for Ukraine. Make t-shirts available, please. Yeah, absolutely. And just to remind you, I also have a tiny merch store. You can check it out in the description. It's really cool. There's patches and notebooks and stuff. The definition of a bachelor is a guy who never made the same mistake once. I'm sure. Oh my god. Yeah. The definition of insanity is making the same mistake over and over again. Operation Conceal Epstein List Conceal Epstein List Fury is not going so well for Trump. Yeah. There was another one. Oh my god. Let me send this one to you. Yeah, it was right here. again, another answer to why Carol Lewitt was so mad at Ukraine. Some distant country somewhere, who the fuck knows where. Why did we give our weapons to that distant country that we don't even give a fuck about, you know? So that's literally one of the reasons why they even talk about it, all right? So here we have my bald head right there. Oh, nice. All right, and there we have a post from Kyle Griffin. The Justice Department just posted online 3 FBI interviews that had been missing from the massive trove on Epstein files initially released. They're related to unsubstantiated sexual assault allegations against Donald Trump. I don't have links right here. Ellie, I hope that you can drop them in the chat if you do have them, all right? So whenever you see that, you can expect more messages like that, more rhetorics like that coming from the White House. They go Epstein, and the White House goes, fucking Ukraine, why do we even help them? They can do it themselves, all right? Like, the Ukrainians just finally fucking die. We want to relax, watch Iran and Gulf countries burn, and just, you know, drink tequila. Yeah, Ellie, thank you so much. My thoughts exactly, my friend, because yesterday when she was talking about that, like Ukraine, distant country, Ukraine is like at least 2,000 kilometers closer to United States than Iran. But Mrs. Your Mama apparently doesn't know geography well. Congress accused Pam Bondi online under oath, and the question were underage children present for the Epstein parties Donald Trump's attended. Yeah, I saw that. Not only she lied, which she was accused of, but I think Kash Patel as well. It's interesting to observe. Interesting and horrifying, actually, knowing that there are 1,200 survivors, all right? It's actually painful to watch. There's over 50 terabyte unreleased files and storage units with Epstein's video files, computers not being looked into. Oh, remember in some of the streams we talked about where exactly can all that video footage, all the data from Epstein's house be and stuff. So according to the FBI, Epstein actually rented several huge storage areas to store all that stuff. And for reasons I cannot explain, all that stuff was never seized by the US law enforcement. Ukraine's failure for Trump is that they're not criminals. Yeah. Probably that's the biggest issue is because Trump doesn't respect you if you're not a fucking tyrant, pervert, or dictator. And that is the reason why he hates, for example, European Democrats so much. I'm American, I can name 10 countries on a map, but I'm 61 and had a great education. Which is the reason, by the way, I fly Microsoft Flight Simulator. That stuff makes you learn a lot about planet Earth. I I had the most recent flight in the area of like Indonesia, Malaysia, and stuff in the virtual skies. And that was fantastic. I actually learned a lot about those countries. Okay, I think I have to say a joke on my own stream. So this joke comes from Ron Uptaker, the person who was involved in creation of this amazing movie about Kiev, right? The Kiev of mine. Breaking news: the United States has threatened to drop their biggest bomb on Iran. B-52s are being loaded with DVDs of the Millennia documentary. That one is good. That one is just... To be clear, Cuba's government is cruel and brutal. It doesn't follow, though, that anyone has a unilateral right to invade. Yes, again, I agree on that. The very purpose of the revolution is when people fight against the tyranny, all right? The people, not the governments, because when government or organization fights against that tyranny, it's usually called the coup, all right? That's according to the dictionaries. When people, not a single organization, but hundreds of organizations, thousands of millions of people fight against tyranny, that is called revolution, all right? That is something that's civilizationally acceptable. And in case of Cuba, it's basically the same as in case of Iran. People gotta go on the streets, they gotta remove the tyrants, they gotta remove the corrupted government if they choose to do so. Trump to Iran in 3 months. Capitulate quicker or we will nuke you. His narratives recently are so ridiculous and so unacceptable in the world of diplomacy, my friends. Like, for example, recently he talked to Chancellor Merz in the White House, and that stuff was simply insane.
We know they're cutting.
How are we going to treat Germany?
Well,
I think you should hit them very, very hard.
you knew he was right there. So.
He says, while Chancellor Merz is sitting there, how do we want to treat Germany? I think we should hit them very, very hard. That's literally godly ally. That's the person you really want to see, all right? The person you really want to sit with behind the same table. Not really. When will he get bored with this war and start another, and where? That's an interesting question, considering that in the past year, Trump actually attacked 7 countries. Which is more than... Which else American president has attacked has attacked so many countries in just 1 year? Let me know. That's a classic narcissistic bully behavior. Bring your victim in a room in which they cannot reply to anything you say, and then you can safely humiliate them. Yeah, that's how it works. You should have seen Mertz's face thinking, what an idiot. I would think the same, absolutely. I feel for Chancellor Merz with my whole heart, all right? What does he plan to do in Iran if he doesn't launch a ground invasion? So there are several possibilities, okay? Option number one, they do destroy Iran's missile capacities. They do destroy Iran's military infrastructure. And then they will say, now, dear Iranian people, just go and take your power. We did all we could. And they GTFO. Option number two, they destroy Iranian missile capacities and military infrastructure, and then they actually conduct the land operation on that island. And basically take it, seize it, all right? Which is more plausible, in my personal opinion. And option number three, they are currently trying to find some kind of solution to this operation, all right? They kind of try to find the solution. This operation that was planned to be finished in 4 days, according to Rubio, I think, will of course take much more time, because again, if we're talking about the involvement of Ukrainian drone interceptors and maybe drone specialists, drone teams, that actually means that Ukraine will have to either bring Ukraine's own specialists and operate those drone teams. But like, I don't imagine the scale of that, seriously. So Ukrainian drone specialists will have to actually be deployed to every Gulf country, and that area is actually very, very big. So I believe that most probably they will train American soldiers and train other countries how to operate the small interceptor drones to shoot down the Shaheds. That is more plausible, and that will take weeks, if not months. So it's really hard to say. Unfortunately, at this point, we can just speculate. America just voted to lift Russian sanctions. Yeah, we talked about that. Captain Dennis suggested to watch YouTube for good Ukraine information. Captain Dennis, we gotta meet soon. I hope so. We gotta meet. I gotta bring him the microphone and stuff. And of course, my friends, if you watch my channel, it's absolutely necessary to watch Captain Dennis as well. I don't see the US putting boots on the ground in Iran. If they do, I fear that it will be worse than Vietnam. Besides, Trump will need congressional approval. I agree that will be nasty. I don't think that United States Army will fail, all right? But they will need a lot of men. They will need hundreds of thousands of soldiers participating in this, because the amount of personnel in Iran is close to 500,000, as we already mentioned, and that will take a lot of effort and a lot of manpower from the United States and possibly from other allies as well. So again, not like I predict, I'm just saying what's possible. There might be possible land operation involving other allies if other countries also jump in, all right? There might be actually a possibility of fifth article activated. Because how does it work? Basically, the country talks to its allies and tries to convince them that this is necessary, all right? Having consultations and stuff like that. Do we have moderators in the chat? Yes, we do. We have Brave Ali and Katya and Newman right there. No offense, must feel better for Ukrainians knowing that the Middle East area is affected by Shaheeds. I don't know, it doesn't make me feel better. What makes me feel better is the fact that they realize that Ukraine is currently the only country they can rely on in terms of air defense, because when Trump was busy somewhere in the court asking answering inconvenient questions about Epstein and stuff like that, Ukraine was developing measures against Shaheeds. Ukraine was developing interceptors and finding solutions to this problem. And if you watch Fox News, by the way, if you watch that video that was presented, the video showing Ukrainian Sting interceptors destroying Russian Shaheeds, you can see that they're very effective. Let's check it one more time, because why not?
Brett Velikovich is a
There's this amazing footage of US deploying high-tech arsenal. Yeah, check out how those Ukrainian drones destroy Russian Shaheeds one after another, and they're very effective. You can see that they have, of course, much higher speed than the Russian crap. Doesn't matter. The altitude, the distance, absolutely doesn't matter. And that is why they are so effective. Nice. And of course, Ukraine is ready to help its allies because Ukraine is not assholes. We will, of course, remember what Trump said about Ukraine, how Trump trashed Ukraine, because it's hard to forget. Okay, but because we are not little kids and we understand that security of our allies is also our security, okay, I'm sure that we will do everything necessary to help American soldiers, our brothers in arms. and other Gulf countries to protect their people. I mean, it's always necessary to remain a grown-up, right? Even when you're like in the Oval Office, you understand that, like with Merz, right? You understand that in this room full of kids, at least somebody gotta be a grown-up. That's why Chancellor Merz just like smiled, all right, and ignored that bullshit. So that is why we will be helping our allies no matter what. And I highly doubt that 2 years from that, Ukrainians on the television be like, we gave our best drones while our Ukrainian people were dying. We gave our best interceptors to some country very, very far away called United States, and we gave them for free. I'm saying these words now because Ukrainians will not say them officially and they will not say them ever again, all right? You will not hear that coming neither from President Zelensky, you will not hear that coming from anybody else, because somebody gotta be a grown-up. Okay. Do we discuss food? I'm just kidding, my friends. I don't know what to discuss because yesterday my lady was extremely hungry. She's having Ramadan. I kind of told her that, like we say that if you were not caught doing something, for example, invading fridge in the middle of the day, then it never happened. Like I'm giving those hints. Yeah, but yesterday she was extremely hungry at the end of the day, and I was actually too. So I decided to cook vareniki, French fries, chuvapchichi, and fried eggs all at the same time. Yeah, but even then she told me that fried eggs, that would probably be too much. So yeah, we only had like vareniki and French fries and chuvapchichi and pickles. Ukrainians are pragmatic enough to understand why drones are supplied, but at a decent price. I believe that the decent price will be the pressure on Russia during negotiations. Because again, when you listen to what Trump is saying, he usually says like recently he stated, sometimes I blame Zelensky, sometimes I blame Putin. First of all, sometimes we blame Zelensky, really? For protecting his people against the illegal Russian invasion? That's interesting. Then when he says sometimes I blame Putin, I personally blame Putin all the fucking time, not just sometimes. Because what kind of justification do you have for this war? But again, being poisoned by Tucker Carlson and all other guys. Tucker Carlson, recently I watched his video on YouTube where he talks that he was attacked by demons. Turns out that Tucker Carlson has this like very, very old spiritual trauma after being attacked by demons and stuff. That's actually very interesting. And people in the commentaries saying, yeah, I've been attacked by demons too, all the time. I think they should drink less, maybe. Miss getting sour cream from Ukraine. I checked, and Polish sour cream actually tastes pretty much similar, right? So US and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran in midst of Ramadan. Maybe they believe Iranians will be distracted and weaker. Yeah, that could be the case. That could be the case. But again, you probably saw or heard all those rumors about how the commanders were explaining the reason for this attack to their soldiers. I'm talking the US servicemen. And basically they said that that's because we're fighting for Jesus Christ. That's because we're fighting against satanic forces. And when you listen to, for example, like the biggest Trump supporters, usually they're all big anti-Muslim. How do you call it? They're racist, basically. What am I trying to Google here? They're racist. The BBC is currently streaming a documentary about the orc militarizing school kids. It's called Mr. Nobody versus Putin. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, let me save this one. I'll check it out later. Maybe the Tucker Carlson was staring into the mirror. Oh my God, I don't know. Maybe he came to his bedroom late night, and discovered someone in the bed next to him. Maybe that was the reason. I have no idea. Tucker sleeps with his dogs in the bed. Did those dogs ever filed, like a harassment report or something? Still looking for a Veronica filled with sweet cheese, can't find it anywhere. Yeah, that's a big problem, because I didn't see anything like that here as well. I didn't see the sweet cheese in general, even in the Polish store. Tucker was a victim of the brain worms. Let's be real. Alcoholism is evil, all right? Yeah, that one. USA soldiers fight for Jesus' rebirth. First comes Armageddon, then angels in mass, they got indoctrinated. Yeah, something like that. I've read that, but that came, I think, from Bloomberg. That is why I am not really sure if I should accept this news as something legit. Yeah, but that was the case. Fighting for Jesus. How do Jewish people react in the United States for being forced to fight for Jesus? Business opportunity for Ukrainian restaurant in Germany. That's actually eating opportunity, my friend. I'm not really good at running business, but I'm good at eating. Can you help me understand why Ukraine hasn't landed a lot more missiles and drones on Moscow than it has? Several reasons for that. First of all, we don't have 1 million missiles at this point. They all require time to produce. Okay, and as I said, it's not like in the game when you press a button and then next move you have like 500 of them built. So we build and launch them as soon as we can. Same with the drones. And looking at the attacks that take place in the terrorist federation, sometimes those attacks involve up to 200 drones or around. So the numbers are actually still impressive. The problem is there are... Wait a minute. I want to make sure that I'm not wrong here. So, Ukraine has 25 oblasts. 3 of them are occupied. 1 completely occupied, which is Crimea, and 2 partially occupied, which is Donetsk and Luhansk. That's besides Kherson Oblast, part of Kherson Oblast, part of Zaporizhia, Dnipro, etc. And also a tiny chunk of Kharkiv and Sumy Oblast. So basically, Ukraine has de jure 25 oblasts. Russia has 46, 22 republics, 9 krais, 4 autonomous okrugs, 1 autonomous oblast, 3 federal cities, and those in total make it 89 subjects. Russia, like the biggest gas station in the world, is divided into 89 subjects. So even if you divide evenly, like all Ukrainian drones and launch them at terror Russia, then that would be like 2-3 drones per region, all right? Moscow, of course, you can strike Moscow easily. You can potentially and physically, you can destroy a fuckload of residential buildings in Moscow, everything, destroy Kremlin and stuff. What is the purpose of destroying residential buildings? Russians do that because they want to demoralize Ukrainians. We all understand that. They pretend that, of course, they don't destroy the residential buildings, but they speak about that all the time. In their social media, in their channels, they talk about it all the time. So what is the point? You have a residential building. You have a missile factory, all right? You have a drone. You have a choice. Either you launch it at a freaking residential building or a drone or missile factory. If you choose residential building, it means that like 10 people might die, all right? 10, maybe 20, okay, on average. If you choose a missile factory, it means that if your drone reaches it, you potentially save hundreds of lives in Ukraine. And also potentially hundreds of Russian orcs become fertilizer because of this strike. Like eventually, as a result of it, all right? So what do you choose? What do you prefer? Russians choose to kill people because Russians are being Russians, all right? That's what the terrorists do. Basically, what the Iranian regime does right now, that's what the Russians do. That's what makes terrorists terrorists, actually. Exactly what Russians do and what current Iranian regime does. They kill people because they consider people their target. That's it. To Ukrainians, Russian people are not our target. Their missiles are, their bombs are, their production facilities, their oil, of course. And on the first place, the Russian invaders. That's the big reasons, the big difference between us and them. Starsky, where's your flag? It's right there. I'm not joking, but I want to improve it a bit, because the patches that I have on it, they just fall down all the time. They fall from the flag, and I want to do something to attach them to the flag properly, and also I want to like remove the folds. I tried to iron it, all right? I stepped over my dignity, because generally it's not in our culture to like iron flags or whatever. But because I'm in Germany and German people told me that you got an iron flag, that's what I did, but not enough. And generally, yeah, it's in the microphone, always here. So after I finish upgrading my flag, it will be here all the time, I promise. The US just lifted Russian sanctions for 30 days. Yes, that's what we talked about just a while ago. Besant said that it's a necessary measure to like fix the raising prices of oil around the world, but it doesn't remove the very reason why those prices started raising, and doesn't change much actually. You need to learn how to sew by hand. I know, I do know how to do that, because before patches even became like, how do you call it? So currently everybody uses Velcro patches. Back in my days, in the early days, you had to actually sew the patches to your uniform by hand, and that's what I did a lot. For India only, I thought it was mentioned that yes, just for India, but then who knows? We'll see. Just wanted to say 2026 is the year of Ukraine. Russia grows weaker, Ukraine grows stronger. Yes, yes, my friend. Thank you so much for your comment, and again for your amazing song. I know that Phil also made another song, or just working on a new song. Sue is pronounced saw. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, Russia has one very, very big friend currently running the White House. And that's the biggest tragedy of today. Some guys never learned, had mom do it for them. Yeah. Why? Because mom's always there to help us. I was surprised when the first patches I got had Velcro. They did stick to my curtains for a while. Yeah. Patches on Velcro, sometimes they are very inconvenient. For example, when you're in a truck somewhere with other guys, all right, and you constantly rub your like shoulders, your sleeves, and sometimes it even happens so like your patches get stuck to your guys or vice versa. It's kind of funny, but it's kind of inconvenient as well. combined with MAGA, such a disgusting situation. I agree on that, but on the other hand, we had an amazing scientist, all right? Amazing scientist, researcher, traveler called Darwin. Darwin actually dedicated a lot of his work to individuals like MAGA, all right? And according to Darwin and the law of the natural selection, they don't have much chance to survive politically, all right? I've got to drop out. Lots of love. Thank you so much for being with us, my friend. Frankly speaking, you can still store the modern patches. You kinda can, yeah. And people will look at you like. One time I told my guys that you can like sew your patches, and they were like, "Why are you grandpa?" You know. How to explain this one? You have a car and you decide to buy covers for your seats, right? Because all sort of people sit on your seats, they spit on them, they poop on them, they do all sorts of crazy shit. And then you look at your seats in the car and there's like a bunch of stains and stuff. So you decide to buy like covers for your seats, for your car, all right? And you talk about that with your friends of your age, maybe younger, and they go, grandpas do that. You go, so what the fuck? I don't care. I want my seats be clean. Then I just like change the covers and everything works. They go like, no, that's like grandpa-ish. So the same with the patches that you can sew, like the Velcro patches, is the same. Like you can't do that, but the guys will be saying that you're grandpa. Also, hand sewing through Velcro is hard work. Yes, exactly. Especially if they're like rubber patches, you know. Do you have a beaded seat cover in your car? Oh my god. I don't, but I will. I promise. Now I definitely will. Like the beaded one. Yes. Yes, that's something that I thought like, what am I missing in my car? The beaded seat cover. Picasso lived in the same time as Darwin and Eminem, which, by the way, explains why Picasso was so cool. I fear that if Congress legitimized the war, it will be used as an excuse to cancel midterm elections. I agree on that. Also, again, I don't want to be a bad prophet, but I think that the times that we live in are currently much crazier than even in 2022. On the other hand, it doesn't mean necessarily that we gotta stay demotivated, demoralized. The good Ukrainian tradition, whenever shit like that happens, you gotta smile, have yourself something tasty, and then decide what to do, all right? Don't give up. Don't let the bad news destroy your day, okay? Because we should be stronger than that. No talk of food yet. I just had a beautiful meal. I am not sure that your beautiful meal was more beautiful than mine, right? Because I had some very, very cool chuvapchichi. We went to Lidl and we bought like huge, like big chuvapchichi the size of a hand grenade. Actually, you can throw them at somebody and literally deliver a lot of damage. Like they're huge and they take like 15 minutes to cook or something. And they were so nice with this very, very hot ketchup. With chili. Yeah, it was nice. That was my speculation. The attack on Iran are designed to find a way to declare martial law and cancel midterm election. That can be the case, 100%. And considering the fact that this is the war that literally has no resolution at this point, okay, because how exactly do you land it with, do you end it without land operation? So it can actually continue for a very, very long time. My comments are disappearing last 3 days. That's interesting. But moderation, I mean automatic moderation in the comments, we all know how it works. For the fuck's sake, it's 3 in the morning here and now you got me cooking some food. What can I say? Please enjoy, alright? Treat yourself with something really, really good. I hope that your food will be more delicious than mine. I mean, that's what you deserve in both senses, right? Little in Wroclaw was weird shoes besides vegetables. Really? I gotta check it out. I love Ivar so much. Yeah, it's not bad. Did you ever try Iran? It's like kefir with gas. I like how Ukrainians call all sorts of pasta just macaroni. Yeah, yeah, that's us. Doesn't matter if it's pasta or spaghetti or something, we just say macaroni. Is Ukraine still exporting grain? Yes, we do. Unfortunately, not in the same quantities. But we do. The quantities shrank because Russia destroyed a lot of infrastructure in Kherson and Odessa. The infrastructure that is specifically designed for loading grain and stuff, sunflower oil. So unfortunately, our export is shrinking, but it's still there. Also, the Russians are attacking the ships with their drones. Oh, had them with donor sometimes. I gotta try. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Iran, but sometimes it's good. I have to go. Daddy taxi duty calls. My friend, thank you so much. I will be also going probably because since we're talking food, I feel like I didn't have enough breakfast today. So, plus it's basically a lunchtime in Deutschland. So, my friends, I'll be wrapping up. Thank you so much for watching and for your ideas. And also big thanks to all the supporters and moderators and members of the channel. You have no idea how much I appreciate your help and support. And also, big thanks to you, my dear family. You are the source of my inspiration and motivation every single time, you know that. And I am so grateful that I have you and I have this opportunity to talk to you and answer to your amazing commentaries. Thank you so much. Treat yourself with something absolutely amazing today. I will definitely have an ice cream. After all, the Russian Ka-27 became a toast on that oil rig. I think is a good reason, all right? Other people drink, I just eat. So, we'll see you later. Don't give up. Let's stick together, because the good guys always gotta stick together, right? Be safe, and bye-bye.